All right. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take judicial notice that I have received some documents from both the plaintiff and the defendant. And when we need to go over those we will. But mainly from the plaintiff, we have the letter of representation. We have the copy of the 3-day notice to vacate, a copy of I guess what is owed, a schedule, and then photos, I guess, of the notice on the door. We have a copy of the lease, and I don't know what this is, different colors. I'm sure you'll explain it. From the defendant, I have some kind of transaction. It's probably what I have a copy of. Some kind of copy of a money order for $700 and something with some kind of notation on it. I'm sure Miss Finley will go over that.
I had more documents. Do you still have my old documents? You say was going they said they was going to add it to my file.
Ma'am, I don't have any documents for you other than what you sent the court. I mean, on this hearing.
Yeah, I had more documents. Okay.
Okay. And did you provide those with the plaintiff as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Let me start with the petition that brings us to court today. This petition was filed in this court on May 21st, 2025. Plaintiff being Crackle Gym LLC, and the defendant is LeShantasia Finley and all occupants. Property located at 312 Cedarwood Lane, Hewitt, Texas, 76643, which is in JP Precinct 1 of McLennan County. Grounds for this eviction is for unpaid rent, which we'll get to in just a second or a minute. Notice to vacate shows to have been delivered on April the 14th, 2025, and shows to have been taped to the front door and mailed the same day. The photograph of it taped to the front door doesn't count, but you did mail it, regular mail, and that is adequate. Okay?
Yes, sir. All
right. Let me go to the lease. And everything. I'm sorry. This lease, excuse me, is in the name of LeShantasia Finley and Crackle Gym LLC. Address of the property is the same as the petition. Terms of this lease is from June 27, 2024 to May 31st, 2025. Which is just passed, but I believe these stay in effect until one side or the other decides to end the contract. Agreed upon. Sorry.
My lease is not over until July.
Your lease ends 5/31/25.
My lease ends in July.
Ma'am, I'm looking at the lease. The lease that I have ends May 31st of 2025.
That's not correct. Housing only signed a 12-month lease, so they provide.
I'm looking at it.
Yes, my lease is July. And in July, I'm on housing, Section 8. Housing will only accept a 12-month lease.
Man, this is a 12-month lease. It's from June of 24 to May of 25. All right, let's go on. The agreed upon rent here shows to be $2,000 a month, due and payable on the first of the month, and considered delinquent on the third of the month, at which time late fees are incurred. Now, this lease is signed electronically by both parties. Miss Finley, you remember doing something? You had to do something on a computer to put your electronic signature on the lease. Do you remember doing that?
My lease, housing did not approve my lease. I paid to move in a couple of days early, but my lease did not begin until July the 1st.
Ma'am, I have a lease that I'm looking at that has your signature affixed to it. That means you had to do something to put your signature on here. Back in the old days, we just get you to sign it, but nowadays it's done by computer.
Yeah,
But it means the same thing.
it was June. That's because I paid early. I paid $266 to move in a couple of days early.
Okay, but did you sign that, or did you put something on your signature on this on June 27th, 2024?
To move in a couple of days early.
But did you do that?
On June the 27th, yes, because housing gave me the approval to move.
Okay, just a second. We'll take one thing at a time, okay? You're going to have an opportunity to present your defense. I promise you, okay? But let's just take one thing at a time. Now, on Ms. Nichols, on the, let me get my thing here. Of the is it still $2,000 a month? First of all,
my portion is $1,386.
man, not. I'm talking to Miss Nichols at this
Oh, okay.
time.
I'm sorry.
Miss Nichols, are you still there? Miss Nichols, I have you here. Yes. Okay. Well, I guess you can put her on the phone, and I'll put her on speaker. Okay, thank you. Miss Nichols? Pardon me? Okay. No problem. Okay, there you are there. Okay, let me, I'll do that. Thank you. Bye. I have a little technical problem, Miss Finley. They had lost power, and they're re-signing on now.
I'm here. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Miss Nichols, did you make it? Okay, you're still okay. There you are. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. You had a little power outage?
Yes, it just flickered. Everything went off and it came back on.
Well, that's the only problem with electronics is we never know when that's going to happen. But
Yes.
But you're back now. My question was, the lease calls for $2,000 a month.
Mhm.
Is that still the same rent?
Yes, sir. 1386 is her part, and 616, I do believe. 614 is housing.
Okay, hold it. Okay, her portion is 1386.
Yes, sir. That's the paper that you said had all the colors on it.
Yeah.
That's the one that I put at the top, what her portion and housing portion and what was paid by each
Okay. One. And what is housing's portion at this? That would be the remainder, would it not?
$614. Yes, sir.
614.
Yes. And there's nothing owed by housing.
Housing is paid it monthly as required?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, now, Ms. Nichols, beginning with any partial months, what months are due at this time?
Okay. So basically, when I go back, I started in October, but basically when I go back from day one, when she moved in, it's carried a balance the whole time. She's carried a balance. So that's why I just put the whole thing, because it goes all the way back. Housing paid her deposit, housing paid her application fee, and then everything, like from the first month, she didn't pay rent. The second month, it just went on the whole time. And then, like I said before, David from St. Vincent's was trying to help. And so she came in and paid some, but she was supposed to bring in $1,751 yesterday. And he was going to go before the board today to pay her balance so that he could get her to a zero balance. But as you see from the paper she brought you, she only brought in $700. I sent it to him and let him know. He said he couldn't do anything until that $1,751 was paid.
Okay. All right. So what does she owe in rent only at this time?
At this time, she's at $4,533.62.
Okay. And I'll figure that out.
Okay,
Okay. All right. But that's the total that she owes?
correct.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything else?
And we have not charged her late fees. We
No,
haven't
I wouldn't award late fees.
Right,
You
that's
know
why
that.
I wanted to
I'm
let you
just
know.
talking about rent.
Right. I just want to let you know that that's all rent. It's nothing else. No late.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Finley?
Yes, I do.
Now you've heard everything that's presented. Now I'm not going to ask you about your defense, but I'm going to ask you about what was presented. Number one, that you have a lease, it's a signed lease. It's something you agreed on. You heard your portion. Is that your portion, the 1386?
My portion is the 1386, but housing did not pay of my application. They don't pay application fee.
Okay, well, I'm not talking about application fee. Miss Nichols said that they did, but we're not talking about that at this time. We're just talking about what your agreement is on paying the rent.
Yes, my portion is 1386.
Yeah.
And the balance that the amount that she is filing for is $6,177.62. I paid $3,000. Ms. Nichols did not provide me with my lender report. She told me if she provide me with my lender report that it will work out in her favor and I need to be kicked out. I went in with I went in Friday and put $2,300. They provide me with a lender report because I told her, no, I will not walk out of here until I receive a lender report. And that was from Lindsay. She said, well, Christy said, no. She said, well, you need to put it in the Dropbox and someone will get it. So I waited. I put it in the Dropbox. The back office lady came in. She picked it up and provided me with a lender report. And that was on Friday. When I came in yesterday and I was on my lunch break, I provided $700. And I asked for my lender report and Lindsay got real offensive. She told me, no, you will not get a lender report. And Christy told her no. Christy knew that yesterday that if I get the lender report that the DePaul was going to help me with the remaining balance of $3,177. The DePaul Center contacted me and said, well, your landlord have not sent anything over and we need a PDF file from her. But Christy had told me that you don't deserve to be in that house. You need to be kicked out. And this will work out in our favor. So I'm not providing you with your lender report. And I told Lindsay that I have the right to get my lender report because my name is on the lease. I told Christy that I will that I'm not coming here for any inconvenience. Being trying to start an argument. I'm just coming to get what I need. That way they can pay the behalf so I can move forward what they filing for. On my behalf, far as the lender report, if you look at the lender report, I had made a concern for Christy to advise that it was an extra $2,000 added on the account. The way how they put it in, it make it look like I'm behind. It say $2,000. And then you put it in and say it will just keep adding up. It was a back office error. I addressed my questions and concerns with Christy. Christy said, well, because on here it say 2,000 if you look at the lender report, and then back in April it would say 1386. I told Christy, I said, hey, Christy, it's a back office error, so it make it look like I'm behind. I said, each time y'all put that number in, the amount of the house, it includes into my lender report. This lender report needs to be corrected. Christy said what I told her. I I told her that you didn't know how to read a lender report, and that would take a couple of days for back office to fix it. She never fixed the report. I have several emails where I addressed my questions and concerns with her pertaining to my account, and the issue never got resolved. So it looked like I have an outstanding balance, but it's a back office area that she do not want to correct. I'm gonna go back from the dates where I reached out to Christy. I sent you emails. I'm not for sure why you have not received it. You said you was gonna save it from the previous. I can start back from when everything happened. When I first moved in, I had filled out a form for the stability program for the $2,000. The stability program paid on my behalf, but it was never entered into the system. When I called Brookwood Property and I asked, hey, why I still have a balance? They said this was not entering in the system correctly, and it looked like the stability program haven't paid anything. But it was on. But I reached out to Laura that made the payment for the stability program, and she said, hey, I'm gonna reach back out because I already paid on your behalf. Far as my rent wise, July, I paid a portion to move in early because I moved out my last house, so I moved in 3 days early. My lease did not begin until July 1st. Housing would not even start a lease at the end of the month. They only begin at the first of the month. So they told me they told me to pay the $266.67, and that was approved by Rochelle Pullen. That's not here anymore. I have notes on that as well. Far as the first month rent, I contacted the office. The office had told me, well, Ms. Finley, we don't know your portion of rent that you would need to pay. If you can wait on our behalf, we will find out that information. That's the reason why the rent was not paid in July, because they couldn't figure out the portion that I need to pay. So moving forward in August, if you look at the lender report where it say 2,000, it say the amount paid 2,000, and then it say the balance $3,544.
Miss Finley, I'm sorry, you're referring to a report that I don't have access to.
Yes, sir, you have it. It's the one with all the colors and everything that she's referring to. If you look on there, everything that was paid by housing, I put in yellow, and the stability program did pay the $2,000, but that was her deposit. They also paid the $50.
Christy, this is my time to speak. You had a time to speak.
That was her application fee. And everything that housing has paid, I put in yellow for you so you can see that in July, nothing was paid by her. August, nothing was paid by her.
I'm sorry, Ms. Christy, but this is my time to speak.
It's $1,386. Yes, it was in there $2,000 because at the end of the day, her lease is for $2,000. $1,386 is her portion. But it shows every time housing pays $614, it leaves $1,386. But she called me and she couldn't understand why it said $2,000. So I talked to Paula, and Paula split it up back in April so that she can actually see what the difference is. But it's $2,000 a month.
Christy, this is my time to speak. You had your time.
Miss Finley, Ms. Nichols is trying to explain this report that you're giving me. You're giving me this side of it, but she's explaining everything here. I do have her. Pardon?
I sent you the information. I don't know why the clerk said that they put it in my file. I sent you the information for a reason, because the lender report is not corrected.
I don't know what you're talking about, lender report. This is a transaction.
That's the lender report, sir. The transaction is the
ledger.
Okay. Now you've said you have one, the one that you submitted to me, Ms. Finley.
I don't even, when I was served by the sheriff, I don't know what she presented to you, because a lender report was not attached to the document that I received from the sheriff.
And it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. That's her evidence that she's showing in court.
Well, it was attached with the last document that I received in April.
Okay, but let me just say that the one that I have from you, Miss Nichols, the date on the bottom is May the 20th of 25. And the one I have from you, Miss Finley, it's just a report, but it says it was dated May 30th of 25. So you're
Yes,
talking
sir.
about 10 days.
So I asked for an updated lender report. They didn't want to provide it to me. Christy knew if I get that lender report that I was taking it to get help on my behalf.
Your
She
Honor.
told me that I need to be kicked out because she's not renewing my lease.
Your
Okay.
Honor,
Yes.
if I may,
Yes.
Ms. Finley came in the office yesterday. Christy was not present when she was here. It is generally, when rent is dropped off, we request that they drop it in the Dropbox. And if they want a transaction ledger, that we will provide that once accounting goes to the Dropbox and inputs the payments. I expressed that to her yesterday several times, that I would email her a copy, excuse me, of the transaction history, and basically a verbal altercation took place, and I don't believe that was sent, but
Okay.
It was not sent on the behalf because you knew that I was taken to the DePaul so they could pay the outstanding balance. And as Christy told you, do not give it to her because she needs to get kicked out, and this will work out in our favor because she won't have the money.
Judge,
that is not
that is
true.
not true. Judge
Christy
Peters-
wanted me to believe that, oh, if this will work out in y'all favor, I understand. She said, oh, well, you'll have do you have enough money to cover? If not, when it work out in our favor, you can do appeal. And I said, I need my lender report if I can get my other half paid. She said, well, you can file appeal. I said, that requires money. Oh, no, it don't require money. That's exactly
Okay.
what she stated.
Miss Finley, have you made your portion of the rent? Have you made every payment since you've been there?
I'm not gonna say that I made every payment, but I only missed 2 payments, and I was getting assistance from the DePaul Center to pay on my behalf.
Miss Finley, when you miss a payment, you incur additional fees. And that's the problem with missing payments, is that sometimes you get to where like this is you can't get caught up.
My lender report is not correct. My transaction report is not correct. If you look at it, they add an amount that's the rent that's towards the rent towards my balance.
Okay. Miss Finley, your testimony is that your rent is not paid in full at this time. Is that correct?
My testimony is that I paid $3,000 and the DePaul was supposed to pay.
Ma'am, just a second. Is your rent paid up to date according to your records today?
Christy did not provide me with my lender report. The DePaul was going.
Ma'am, I'm talking to you.
I don't have a lender report, sir.
Have you paid your rent on time?
My rent was paid, sir. What I'm advising is that they did not provide me with my lender report. I had an outstanding. I'm not going to say that I was on time all the time, but my rent got paid. They did not provide me with my lender report for the DePaul to pay the rest on my behalf.
Okay. But Ms. Nichols, your testimony is that she is delinquent at this time for $4,533.62.
That is correct.
And that's just rent.
That is just rent.
Okay. All right.
The past due balance that you're requesting, you said $6,177.
Ma'am,
The amount that I paid, the reason for us to go into court was $6,177. You'd include in this month rent, and rent is not due until the 5th, which is today. So that is not even the amount that you're saying.
ma'am, rent is due on the 1st. It is, ma'am, it is, Miss Finley, it is due on the 1st. It is delinquent on the 5th, and that's when you get additional fees.
No, theirs is due on the 5th. It's delinquent. You have all the way to the 5th to
No,
make
ma'am. Your lease says that the rent is due on the 1st.
I don't know what they provided to you, but it's the 5th.
It's the one that you signed. Well, it's actually the 3rd is what they have on here. I don't know where you're getting the 5th from.
Because that's what they provide. That's what they provide me, and I have the right to ask for my lender report if I have an agency to assist me with the outstanding balance.
Okay.
And that was not provided to me
Judge,
because she knew if I would have got the outstanding lender report that he was going to the committee to pay on my behalf.
Okay. All right. I'm going to have to end this. I got another trial set, but I want to just I'm going to do this. I'm just going to address possession of the property at this time because I am confused about what is owed where. Miss Nichols, I'm not saying she doesn't owe the money. I'm saying that we can't come to any agreement here of exactly what is owed. So I'm going to award you possession of the property, and then you'll just have to work that out. And if I'm not saying she doesn't know, and if she owes, you're just going to have to file a small claims if she doesn't pay. That's between you two. But at this time, I'm going to address the property itself.
okay.
All right, Ms. Finley, do you understand that?
What do you mean address the property itself?
They're going to get possession of their property because there's a dispute here of what is owed. Neither side can prove to the court exactly what is owed, so we're not going to address that part of it. But you are delinquent in your rent, and they have every right to get their property back, and that's what they're here for today.
So I have 30 days. So if she's doing that, she needs to. She didn't give me my lender report if I can reach out to housing because I have 30. I would have to find me another place to stay.
I've already spoke to housing.
Yeah, you're saying stuff, and both of you are talking to the same people, but you're hearing different things as far as I'm concerned.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to get kicked off my housing. So I provide.
Well, when you become delinquent in paying your obligation, you did that to yourself, ma'am.
Sir, I provided you with I provided the information why they didn't put it, and I have emails showing that it was sent over, and they said I will put this in your file. I'll provide you with a pack of evidence or documentation on the behalf of my account. And I even had someone to speak on the behalf of my account.
Yes,
And she knew
Peterson, every payment that was made is on the ledger.
No, this is incorrect.
Miss Finley, please let Miss Nichols speak.
Every payment that was made by Miss Finley is on the ledger. Every month that she missed, I marked it and showed you that she missed it. When I spoke to David at St. Vincent's, he said, and he agreed because her balance is so much that if she paid $17.51, I would have to send him the hard copy and he would take it before the board. What I told Miss Finley is because she wanted us to reschedule, and I told her no. I told her what I would do was get that paper to David because he's going to go to the board on Thursday, but it'll be after we go to court, and he's going to present it to the board to see if he could get her balance approved. I said, but Miss Finley, do you understand if they vote no, they will not pay your balance and you still owe that. And in that 6 days that you have to appeal, you need to pay that balance. And I also told her on yesterday, I would never tell anybody I want them to be kicked out.
That's exactly what you stated.
That is not true.
That's what you stated.
And what I said, Judge, was that we are not renewing her lease. I cannot go to the owner and give this to the owner.
I'm not asking to renew my lease. What I'm asking is
do that. So we are not renewing her lease. And I told her we were moving forward. When she brought that $700 in, I was not in the office, but I did leave message with Roxanne at the front that she was paying $17.51 and to make sure they go to the back to accounting because we're not allowed to take money. So when accounting got it, she saw it and saw that it was just $700 and she knew it was supposed to be $17.51. So it was a red flag. I called David, let him know that she paid $700, asked him, did he want me to send that over?
David told me he didn't even speak with you. What you had Lindsay to do is take a picture.
Miss Finley, You're interrupting. I'm trying to hear as much as I can of this. I'm hearing both sides. You've told me your side.
No, I was still speaking and she interrupted me. She took
Okay.
over when I was speaking, sir.
All right, but because of this back and forth, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and pass the judgment, but I'm going to award possession of the property. Y'all get this worked out however you need to. You signed the lease, you're obligated to it. That's between you and management. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So,
All right. So so I'm going to award for property only for possession of the property, Miss Nichols. And like I said, once this all gets worked out, y'all can sit down and do this together. And then when there's a final amount, then you can request that part from her. Okay. And if she doesn't pay, then you may have to file a small claims, but I'm sorry. But there's just too much back and forth here. I can't decipher that. Okay. So
Okay.
I'm going to also award you the court cost at $144. Ms. Finley, I want you to understand this is the judgment of this court. You always retain a right to an appeal. If you wish to appeal the decision of this court, and again, this is for possession only. I'm not addressing what you owe. You owe money, but that's all I'm addressing is possession of the property. And you must appeal by Thursday, June the 12th. All right? Okay. All right, ladies, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
okay, so I need to go, you said I need to go appeal by June the 12th. So you're saying I need to go down there to appeal to keep, to stay in this house until my lease is over?
If you wish to appeal this court,
Okay.
you're going to have to do two things. You're going to have to, number one, pay a surety bond of $1,000, and you can do that either with, pardon?
I say yes, sir.
Okay. And you can also do that with the inability to pay. However, the other side is you have to pay 1 month's rent into the registry of the court. And the way I understand it right now, your portion is $1,386. And that's what you have to pay into the registry, because did you not say that housing has paid the other portion?
Yes.
The
And I just-
614?
Mhm.
Okay, so you have to pay that in, and then it goes
Okay.
up to the county court, and you'll hear this all over again, and maybe you can have all your stuff in line. And I would suggest, well, the county court doesn't do Zoom hearings, so everything is in person. So
Okay.
y'all go in person and hash it out, okay?
So basically you saying I need to pay the $1,000, right? And then
That's
you saying
up to you. That's if you wish
So
to appeal it.
I'm going to appeal it. So you said
Okay.
$1,000 and I need to pay the first month rent. Is that correct?
Correct.
And what, I need to go to the, downtown. Is that correct?
The court, down the courthouse, room 108 is where the office is.
What is the room number? I can barely hear you fading in and out.
108. It's on all the correspondence you got from this
Okay.
court, ma'am.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
All right, ladies. We are adjourned.
Uh-huh.
Have a blessed day.